lake is 5 feet high.
Yeah.
And I don't think they could experience that.
Really
But
not
it's all
much.
the,
Well, probably not as much, yeah.
People in the temple who,
They
Oh, it's right.
Well, good morning, everybody. And welcome to the Polar Vortex edition of the Columbia Economic Development Board of Directors. We've got a full agenda, as you can see, from serials that are placed before you. The first item is election of 2026 officers. Before we do that, can someone explain how this is different than what we did at the November meeting?
we did it in November.
We elected a slate of directors, we elected this.
So you're taking it as a recommendation, it was a recommendation to vote at the annual meeting?
Okay, very good. So the
That's right.
Nominated for election, re-election as officers are myself as president, Barry Gay as vice president, Brian Mahoney as treasurer, and Rachel Levine as our secretary. Are there any other nominations? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the slate.
Second?
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much for your confidence in the current leadership team. Now, on to the consent agenda, which is long. I'm sure you spent most of the weekend reading over it, making notes, suggestions for changes, additions. I just want to quickly review what the consent agenda entails this month. The minutes of the December meeting, the 2026 housekeeping resolution, and compliance calendar. These are all items that are required by the state authorities budget office. Committee charter approval for our various committees and committee discharge of duties for 2025 for each of our committees. The mission statement and performance measures report from last year and this year's mission statement and measurement goals, and then our statement of internal controls. Anyone wish to remove any of these items from the consent agenda and discuss them separately? Okay. Any questions, comments, or complaints about the consent agenda? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. We are on to the loan committee, starting with the portfolio dashboard. What page is that, Armin?
That is page 41.
Go deep.
I think it'd be cheaper to buy you all iPads and put this in a board portal.
Okay, starting with loan client A, that has been on this list since the dawn of time. Loan client B is 1 month behind on one of their loans. I think we received a check that didn't clear and she hasn't yet replaced it. Loan client C has also been on this report for many months, and we updated the board last month. Loan client D is 1 month behind. We've reached out to them and we do expect to see a payment in the near future. Are there any questions?
The motion to approve the portfolio dashboard.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. The loan request for Talbot Arding and Company.
Thank you, Jim. We've seen this name before. They're an existing client with an excellent repayment history. They also applied for a loan last year at this time. They always have a strong fourth quarter. The first quarter is typically slow, and they're looking for a loan in the event that they need to draw it down to get through the first quarter with positive cash flow. The amount requested is $50,000 split between the two loan funds. The total monthly payment would be $870.57. The interest rate is 7 3/4, and this is a working capital.
Questions or comments? If none, is there a motion?
So moved. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The loan is approved. Anything else from the loan committee at this time?
Mr. Chairman, in your packet, there are, 3 loan reports. And I'm gonna ask Steve Vandenberg to walk us through those. Show you the success of, 2025. We also, I think I reported it at the last, at a committee meeting, that, CEDC had, the highest dollar amount of microloans in the Syracuse region. But for some reason, Pursuit had the largest number of loans. So they must have done a batch of smaller loans, but again, credit of Martha and Steve and the rest of the team that support them. We are, again, at the highest level of our region, and as you know, that's important with respect to our grant, because it's based on your volume and the number of loans that we will produce. Steve?
All right, so good morning, everybody. There's 3 sheets. We'll start with the smaller of the 3. It's got the blue ink on it. It was, Jim's gonna beat you here to last. There you go. All right, yeah. So this really just a look from one year to the next to show performance of the loan portfolio and how it's grown over the year. Of note, we still have the $650,000 from the $1 million loan with our SBA that we've yet to draw. So we certainly do have money available to put out on the street. On to the first of the 2 large 8x14s. This is going to be the one with a little bit of green. This is that portfolio dashboard that we've done many years now. And it's a lot of information to a snapshot of the year. A couple items of note, it includes the SBA technical grant, as well as the money that we spend on technical assistance to our consultants, the number of loans, our clients, the graduates of our microbank seminar series that we run each year, write-offs, and then also totals on the right-hand side. And of note, 3.575 million from our friends at the SBA. Also very informative for you. The last of the 3 sheets that I wanted to show you is brand spanking new. And it's the long one. So I took a look at down home. There are 287 loans in our loan management since that down home became a system here at CEDC. Those 287 are split amongst sectors and categories within that sector. So if you took a look, how many loans were created in the food services, for example? There's 84 of the 287 were in the food service sector. Of those 84 loans, 53 are active, 1 was charged off, 30 were paid in full. 29% of the portfolio in the food services sector. And then if you took a look at just the active loans, that's 29.6, so it's a relatively flat number. And 31% of our portfolio outstanding in the food services sector. As you would expect, between food service and retail, those are our 2 highest sectors in the portfolio. When I initially had done this report, I took a look at 2 items that are of interest to me that dropped. Manufacturing is down, as is professional services. So again, a lot of information to take a look as you evaluate the portfolio as a whole. Sean?
What is the distinction between professional services and services in terms of the types of business?
All right, so the professional services would be a law firm or a private practice, whereas the service industry could be considered a landscaping company or a construction company.
Okay.
Great question, thank you. Anyone else? Thank you.
I think the real important part of the report, the third report, is that when you look at the first report that Steve showed, our total portfolio before the additional 650 is 640, or it's $4,480,000. We're a $5 million loan fund. We need to be monitoring our concentrations, our bad debt. When you look at the people, poor clients that are on the delinquency report, that's 0.007% of the outstanding loans. We did another report for the loan committee that if we took all of the outstanding loans and looked at the amount we owe the SBA prior to drawing down the 650, we would have to have a 55% loss of all loans before we would not have enough to pay the SBA back out of loan funds. And so, and if you collapsed the entire portfolio and all loans paid as contracted for, and we owe the SBA $1.5 million, we would basically have $2.8 million of equity in the loan fund. And when you look at the financials that we're about to look at in the treasury report, we have $2.9 million in equity on the balance sheet. So we're a not-for-profit plus a loan fund, and the importance of the loan fund to the organization is not only we're serving our mission, but if we look at the amount of interest over the 11 years that was on the aggregate report, it's $885,000 with $169,000 of write-offs, which is $716,000 of net interest, all of which over this period of time has gone back into the loan fund. Martha and I have been monitoring a report through an industry association with respect to funding for the next fiscal year of the federal government. And it looked like it was going to be consistent with what was in the previous year.
That's their hope. The budget office allocated $0 for technical assistance, and but last year they were able to bring it back, and they assume they'll be able to do it this year as well. Yes, it's friends of the SBA microloan program that are working hard with a lobby.
So again, we had another spectacular year. We do have in our CEDC account $1.2 million in loans outstanding and almost 700,000. And so we have a $2 million loan fund there. So the importance of the continued funding by the SBA, not only because of the technical assistance, but also because of the ability to continue to lend. And the 650 that we have not drawn down is contractually obligated for us to use over the next 2 years.
Yes.
Overall, the write-offs are pretty low, bringing up all types of risk we're taking. Most of the staff here.
Well, it's a nurturing.
Yeah. The minute they get behind my 30 days, we start working hard because it just is to get caught up.
That's true.
The good part is the loans are, the dollar amount of payments are, as I say, none are higher than a BMW car lease. But if you're in financial trouble, you try to get rid of the noise and you pay the smaller people first. And if you had a $3,000 loan and you were having financial cash flow difficulties in a small business, you would not be able to pay that first.
I think
What's the
there's a
difference
sense of,
service, like compared to, professional service, food service, and then just like regular service?
Professional services for, you know, attorneys and
Yeah.
that kind of thing, real estate agents, and we don't do many of those. Service, businesses could be, lawn care,
So anything like that.
so, yeah, can you think of others, Steve, in that category?
Just because it's a big category, so I was wondering.
Yeah, the highest rate and have to dig into it deeper.
Yeah, with the highest rate of charge.
How does the default rate compare to commercial banks rates?
It's probably a little bit higher, but I think that's to be expected because of the types of risks that are taken, and that's the whole point. But it's not, it doesn't seem outlandish. I mean, everybody thinks, oh, restaurants fail, food service, but there's only one charge off out of 84 loans, so. That's a powerful risk.
Well, and if you look at over time, the write-offs have been $169,000 on $6.7 million of lending.
I do want to state though that we are concerned, you know, whether like this doesn't help any business, let alone restaurants, and we are hearing from clients that expenses are increasing dramatically.
There's,
You know, employee costs, we heard from one recently, it was her insurance. We heard from another one about her utilities. So,
yeah,
20% for us in the health insurance reviews.
20%. Yeah, that, and that's what I'm concerned about is macro factors, right?
And I thought 19 was bad.
Yeah, I mean, casualty insurance is way up also. Yeah, it's not gonna be an easy year. Do we have any sort of tracking on, you know, I'd say the one sort of general weakness or characteristic for our loans is that they're very little collateral on most of them. So do we have any way of tracking, like, of the ones that have been charged off, have we ever made any recoveries by collateral sale?
We did on, there was a restaurant in Philmont, but the difficulty there was we were third.
You were last at the table.
And we basically settled to get out because the cost of participating in the litigation related to everyone involved who were creditors, would cost more than taking the $5,000 to run. Again, when you take $168,000 over 11 years, it's not really been worth our effort, and as you point out, there's not.
Yeah,
It's hard to get,
third position.
money out of
or something.
I do think we have two that are pending now that I think you're aware of the details. I think our patience allows us to get paid off where there is the ability to be paid off. There's the ability to buy out a loan that's in default in the SBA portfolio with CEDC money and recast the payment structure so that they can survive. And I think that is really ensured that we don't have a large loss. And then we have the diligence of the team. Marshall finding the guy in Missouri to buy the train is probably the best story. Or finding the out-of-town restaurant owner who bought all the goods from the taco restaurant on Warren Street because they were leasing the space, and that's all that's collateral on, so.
Yeah.
we do still have a mortgage on a business owner's home that was charged off many years ago. So at some point, I assume we'll be going.
Type search.
Yeah, the most bizarre thing since I've been here was the person who called and said we had a lien on his airplane. No one could remember how it got there, and so we just released it. Great.
I want, before you go on, Mike, I just want to commend the staff for providing us with this data as context so we can better understand our loan program.
I will move to the treasurer's report. There are no more questions under the loan committee's report. As you see on page 43 on the balance sheet. Quick flip to the second page shows total assets of 5.765. Which is an increase of $350,000 over the previous year. Again, if you look at where we had the increases, we drew down $350,000 from the SBA. And you know, if we, and as I pointed out, previously, it's, all related to the loan fund. Are there any questions on the balance sheet? The balance sheet absent the loan fund is pretty static. If we go,
Just thinking about year end, Mike, are you expecting any material adjustments that aren't already included
yeah,
in these?
that's why this is draft, on that. On the P and L is where I expect we'll have some adjustments. You know, as you can see, you know, we were down on overestimating IDA closings, and grant administration. And some of that is timing and some of it, was being overly optimistic. We did receive all of our county funding. We were behind on interest on bank, interest, by $4,000, but we picked that up by being $14,000 over budget on the interest on the loan fund. And with respect to membership, you know, we were down 27,000. And you know, we picked that up through other income and the additional grant that we received for the administration of the loan fund. And as you know, that's a July 1 to June 30th, so it only gives you a half a year on the calendar basis. So we are down $21,000 in income on a $1.3 million operation, which is 1.5% off budget. With respect to expenses, you know, we were down in every category except land bank expense, but we have an accounts receivable for reimbursement on that item. We were down on budget for public relations and marketing. That was the advertising related to the search for the CEO. We probably did more than we needed to, but I think that was the intent of the committee and the board. And the one area where we missed completely was we didn't budget sufficiently for SBA interest expense. And part of that was my fault in not understanding how it's done traditionally and then how it's done during COVID. And you know, I thought that our loans were still on deferral, or tranches of SBA money was on deferral, but Steve and I looked at that for this year, and he estimated it's going to be 47,000, right, Steve? So, you know, when you look at the budget, we really picked up the money on the employee expense by not, you know, placing that open position. And our total expenses were $125,000 under budget, which gives us a preliminary net income of $121,000. The accountants, if we go back and look on the balance sheet, you'll see that there's a 42,500 and a 22,500 account deferral of income that we created during COVID, because the county had paid us for the full year, even though we didn't start Columbia Forward or the housing project until mid-year. And I felt, at least for transparency at that point in time, that we should not say that we earned that money. Because if someone came back and said, you know, you got $100,000 for a year and you only started in July, why are you booking that money? In retrospect, perhaps we should have absorbed it over the remaining years of that contract, because now they're telling me the contract ended. There's no ability to extend it because it was ARPA money and the county can't do that. So they're saying that in fact we earned it 2025, and they're going to add $65,000 to income. Good news is our discussion was you authorized up to $75,000 additional for the bad debt allowance. You know, we do have to go through a process to convince them that we're not carrying too much in that account at this point in time, but when you consider the economy and you consider we have the ability to draw down another $650 contractually, I think we'll be able to make that We're at 318, it would bring us up to almost 400. 400 on a $2.8 million loan fund is 15 or 20%. It's not excessive. The other issue they're bringing up is, you'll recall that the county IDA on behalf of the Board of Supervisors sold a property at the Commerce Center, and they netted after closing expense $48,000. The Board of Supervisors directed that it be transferred to CEDC for future economic development purposes. I'm trying to put that into deferred income or restricted income. They're telling me we need to record it as 2025 income, and I say, well, when we spend the money in 2026 or 2027, how do we're gonna have an expense that's not gonna be covered by income, and so we're going through that process. I've got to get them some documentation on the resolutions that the Board of Supervisors approved, both in terms of the sale and the transfer. I guess when you do that, it would show we'd have $170,000 of net profit. I like to operate around 35,000, so that when some of your funding sources are looking at it and saying, why are we giving them $500,000 when they made 169 last year? In previous years when that happened, we were able to explain. And but I'm really not even happy with the 121 as a bottom line. But when I can show that it was 105 of it was not hiring an employee, I think that in discussions and negotiations, with non-contractual or non-competitive funding sources, we can explain that. Any questions on either the balance sheet or the there's one other small issue with the EIDL. Key Bank shows that they paid the IRS or the SBA $17.50 a month as programmed, but they've only recorded 10 months. And so when I sent them, you can't call them on the phone anymore. So when I sent them the email, even with they responded about another account, because they said that your $2,200 a month has been credited. And we paid, you'll recall we took $100,000 EIDL loan at 2.75% for 30 years. The goal was to pay that back in 5 years. We took it because we didn't know about PPP2, and we would have had to lay staff off if we had not taken that loan. And we basically, I think it's a $500 or $600 a year interest cost right now, and we're paying it back so that it will be fully paid off in 5 years. I think we owe about $45,000 on it now, but I've got to figure out a way to get credit for the money that we paid.
Any further questions or comments about the financial reports? If not, may I have a resolution to approve? Second, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'll continue. What a great year. We have, not only all of the good news that we've already reported on the loan fund, but the work that Chris Brown has done with housing, and I'll ask him in a moment to go over the report that he's provided. We prepared this report for the Board of Supervisors Economic Development Committee meeting last night, which was deferred because of the snowstorm. The chairman called me yesterday afternoon, and the items that we had on the agenda for that meeting, which would have been considered if they had the meeting and approved them at the February Board of Supervisors meeting, it will be considered by the Finance Committee tomorrow, so that those resolutions will have to wait until the next committee meeting. Those resolutions were our 2026 contract. There was a resolution to hold a public hearing related to our micro enterprise grant. When you complete the grant cycle, when you have 80% of the money dispersed, between 80 and 100, you close it out with a public hearing. And the third item was to appoint a new member of the land bank, since that falls under our jurisdiction and the committees, because of retirement in the county attorney's office. So I was very pleased that the chairman, called to say everything that goes before the committee, or before the board, has to go through at least one committee. So we're gonna be taking care of that tomorrow. We did get an increase. We had asked for a $50,000 or $40,000 increase. They gave us a $36,000 increase at the county, so we're at $496,000. We are we're behind one full payment, quarterly payment from the SBA. But even though you had approved being able to tap into our reserve account up to the amount the SBA owes us, we haven't had to do that yet. I don't think we're gonna have to do that, and hopefully they won't have another shutdown tomorrow or Friday. And that will just further delay it. When Martha checked with them, the answer was they're putting in a new accounting system, and until that's tested, completed and tested, they won't be able to pay any money. The cash flow management on the government part. We've been very busy with projects. Martha and I have met with several entrepreneurs who are looking at projects from $100,000 to $35 million. One of the interesting ones is the acquisition of the Creechy Motel up in Canaan. Another is a upscale resort in Claverick that the county IDA has received an application for a $35 million 40-room resort behind the old Jackson's hamburger shop. It used to be Keeler's ice cream stand across from the library. It's on 86 acres.
Eskimo bar.
Eskimo bar, yeah. And so you have to change gears all the time because they're talking to people about $100,000 projects and then talking about the 35 million. The county IDA approved a $22 million financing package for the summit, which is on 27 Summit Avenue in Philmont. It's the old knitting mill. The group is looking to put an arts and cultural and banquet space in there. They just received $1.5 million from the state through the CFA process. Again, I didn't bring that report, but in the CFA process, which was announced in December, I think we were at 9.8% and we're only 5.8% of the population. So we played above our weight again in the CFA cycle. I think that when we look at the state of the state, I attended, but I was put in the kids' room downstairs because there are only 500 seats in the egg. But it seemed that we had more fun because I think there were 1,000 people in that venue and they served us food and drink. But the regional council funding is still there. Crystal touched briefly on the housing funding. There's significant money for childcare, but we're not sure how you access it if it's approved because a lot of these funding sources go to larger projects. So we're attempting to work on those. We are at the point where there are about 550 addresses still on the broadband list, but all of them have had one or more providers ask to be to allow them to build those out with federal money. We're waiting to see, how that federal money will flow. I think only 60 of the 500 would be served by Starlink. The rest would be actually hard wired interconnections. We are moving forward on the wireless study that the state asked us to amend our broadband grant award to undertake, and they're pleased with the activities there. I was fortunate, along with James Hanish, who's my contemporary at Greene County Economic Development, to speak to the Chamber Leadership class a few weeks ago. And I provided you with a copy of the census reporter data that I used at that and passed out to the recipients. You know, we're still at the 61,000 in population. Cornell did a study 3 or 4 years or more ago saying that 10 years we'd be at 50,000. Our demographic keeps going up. I was fortunate to participate in a roundtable with SUNY Chancellor King when he visited Columbia Green on his annual tour of college campuses. Your HR director was there, my Aunt James was there as well. Senator Hinchy said that Columbia County has one of the highest median ages in the state and it's getting higher all the time. And I looked over and I said, be careful, Senator. We all age every day. You know, take this and take a look at it. It does keep in perspective, you know, who we're serving and who we ultimately hope is the beneficiary of the economic development. The median household income is 83,000. Chris will tell you that the median sale price of homes in December of for last year was 575. Chris,
529
529
for the year.
for the year. How do you afford a $529,000 house on a $83,000 2-person household income? I don't know what the answer is to the housing shortage. I did see a report that you'd have to increase wages by 43%. You'd have to drop interest rates to 2.5%. Or you would have to, I don't know what the solution is going to be. We continue to work on infrastructure to support housing. Chris and I did have a meeting with a realtor the other day and, you know, the discussion led to where can we get packaged water treatment system plants at a reasonable price where you might be able to do a 20 or 30 unit development or project. Because we only have the 6 sewer districts, and when you start to talk about expanding those sewer districts, people get nervous that it's going to ruin the residential character of their communities. There's 4 pending projects, housing projects in Greenport, which would be over 150 units if they were all built. But the Greenport sewer plant now has an issue where they last summer when it rained extensively, they had overflow. They can't approve any more housing projects or projects that would use significant sewer capacity until they do a study. You can't do the study till it starts raining in April and May. And, you know, we had several projects the project behind the Napa Auto Supply store that Redburn started, but Kempner and Baxter had revived. There's a proposed project behind the Sunoco station on 66 across from Catty Corner, I guess, to the Falls. There was the Amador project up in Claverick at 66 and 9H, which was going to use the new pipes that the county built from that corner to the Greenport plant. And there was a small project that was going to serve social service population, kind of, what was it, a group home or?
Transitional housing.
Transitional housing. We've been working with the town of Chatham. You recall one of the discussions we had, I think Rachel Levine was very interested in, was our Hamlet initiative. We got in the middle of it and found out that 2/3 of the businesses in the village of Chatham are in the town again. And so the town of Chatham's Economic Development Committee, appointed by the town board, was interested in focusing on the businesses in Chatham, and I'm not sure they were aware of it because Mayor Howe wasn't too thrilled when they put out a survey to Chatham businesses from the Claverick town. or I'm sorry, the Chatham Town Committee without involving the folks from Ghent. So we sorted that out a bit. They're also looking for how they could get directional signage from the Taconic and from other routes to the village business district. The difficulty they have is 3 of the 4 routes into the village are state highways. And they weren't happy when I gave them the 20-page guide as to how to go about requesting signage on state highways, but we are working with them and attempting to move them along. When you take all the pieces together, I think the supervisors are very pleased with what we're doing. And I think we've met now 3 times with the new mayor since he started on January 1st. He was has appointed former mayor Tiffany Martin to be the deputy or his mayoral aide, not a deputy mayor, but a chief of staff, basically. She's attended the meetings as well. The city IDA will have 4 new members. The mayor, the new planning board chair, Ron Bogle, meeting with today at 11, and John Sampanato, who's come back to town, and I think he just went on the hospital board and also the Friends of the Park board. And Mohammed Rani, who is now the minority leader of the city council. 4 out of 7 means you're going through an educational process and attempting to determine what the appetite is of the new board members to do economic development incentives. As you know, some people feel they're corporate welfare, other people see the impetus of the incentives. As you know, we took over the operation of the Hudson IDA 10 years ago when the state told them to shut down, but I didn't want the county IDA doing tax deals and having people in the city saying we were giving away their tax dollars. But since 2020, in terms of managing the city IDA, the city IDA has approved under our direction $175 million of development projects. Those projects, if there were no projects, would generate $8 million over 10 years in real estate taxes. Pilot payments equal 11.2 in connection with the 2 hotels that were approved. And they're looking at over $6 million in bed tax, and they received $1.75 million in IDA fees. What they have given up to get these projects, to the extent that these projects may or may not have gone forward without the IDA incentives. And when you look at the fact that Penrose, J. Elegant School, the Galvin Housing Project, and the Providence Hall and Schuyler Court projects have basically will provide 300 housing units. 150 were existing, but could have been lost because the developer was looking to sell at market if he couldn't get someone to take it over as a Section 8. So I think there's a real story to tell. Thanks for letting me practice for my attempt to convince the people I'm meeting with. But I did read the new planning board had sent a letter to the editor in July about the Calaruso project. And I sensed a real balance of willingness to explore economic development activities and arguing that what Ben Payne wants to do at CAS and what others are doing would be the ongoing unrestricted permit on the Calaruso operation would be a detriment to those new projects. So if you can take that and extract it. I did speak with Paul and his lawyer, John Privitera, about the lawsuit that was brought in January. They're working on responding to the complaints. So. The last thing I included, was a report that I provided, to the chamber leadership class. And that was, the fact that in, 2020, the total enrollment in K through 12 was 6,100. And the most recent year that we have, 2024, it's down 500. But what you really need to look at is the fact that we still only have 469 12th graders in the 6 school districts in the county. So, you know, and if you go back even further, it's basically over a 10-year period, it's a 20% drop in enrollment. I did see in the governor's state of the state message an attempt to consolidate school districts. I know that's been talked about before. I think at one point there was discussion of giving BOCES greater administrative responsibilities so that you know, you might have a supervising principal at each school, but you eliminate superintendents across the board. I don't see that happening politically. And you know, the consolidation of buildings with respect to the distance and time people, children would spend on buses, it's also the reality that would prevent broad scale consolidation. Chris, do you have a minute or two to review your housing activity report?
Yeah, which would be like 1 minute or 2.
See how the crowd goes.
I'll try to go quickly. So this is divided into 3 sections. The first is the housing task force, which is really the main thrust of the county's housing initiative. The second is the Columbia County Land Bank, which we're administering on behalf of the county. And then the last is just me as an individual person, as the housing development coordinator. So the top line item, which we've talked about a lot, hold your applause this time, please. The entire county is now pro-housing certified. And so what that led to was a couple of grant applications that went in towards the end of last year, one from the county itself. It was a little bit odd. We actually had to get permission from the state for the county to submit an application. So that would be a countywide technical assistance grant to do a vacant building study, create a database of those vacant buildings, then match them up with grant programs to get them back online. There are also some applications from Hillsdale for rezoning, and then most relevant to our interests here, the JLE school. Penrose submitted a infrastructure grant application. I imagine there will be a lot more applications next year. The entire county was certified in November-ish, a little bit before Thanksgiving. A lot of the programs that are now locked behind pro-housing are part of the CFAs, so we'll probably see a lot of applications in the spring. Assisted with a +1 ADU program, so the accessory dwelling unit grant program that RUPCO is administering for us. There are now 2 rounds. The first round was 20 of our 23 communities, and the second round was just Taconic and Hudson because they weren't participating in the first round. Valatia remains a little obstinate as far as ADUs go. We're working on it.
And your first award was 2 million?
2 million, yeah. Which was enough for 14 awardees, and they are all under contract, so all of those projects are going forward. We also convened the 2025 Columbia County Virtual Housing Forum last year after skipping 2024. We had a lot of conversations following that from developers, but also from people looking to get involved in a more altruistic scenario, actually donating property and or money. And then the last thing that happened, well, not the last thing, but the other highlight for the Housing Task Force was developed a workforce survey. I only found precedent for this at a countywide level in one other place across the country in California. So we developed the questions, we like the questions, we like who we want to give the survey to. Actually distributing the survey to as many employers as we've got throughout the county and ensuring relevant response rates that we can actually call it science is beyond our capacity as a housing task force. So that's something this year we'll look for a consultant to help with. Columbia County Land Bank. So 2025 was really the first full year of the land bank getting its feet under itself. So all of the organizational policies have been adopted. Not only do we have the operations funding that comes into CEDC for our admin services. Last year we applied for and received our first round of capital funds. So this is acquisition, rehabilitation, demolition, new builds, all that. Some of that money has already been earmarked for our first acquisition, which worked exactly as we developed it. We've reached out to the town where the parcels are located. So these are parcels that the county foreclosed on. We reached out to that town, got a resolution from that town board for those parcels to be transferred into the land bank. And we have a developer lined up on the back end. So all of that was put together before we actually acquired the parcels, which we should be doing within the next few weeks. And then they would be transferred out to that developer. We've also started the pre-development, I would say, pre-development phase on our next project. So again, we're speaking to that municipality. We have a couple of developers that we're speaking to on the back end. So there should be 2 projects coming out of the land bank this year. For me, myself, one of the things I do is I'm on the board of another nonprofit. It's a community land trust with a couple of folks from the Columbia Land Conservancy, also the city of Hudson. And through that partnership, I represent the community land trust in an organization called the Hudson Valley Alliance for Housing and Conservation. This is 8 nonprofit affordable housing organizations and 8 land conservancy organizations that figure out where their missions overlap and how they can help each other. The first big project that we initiated in Columbia County was in New Lebanon. New Lebanon's about to go through a comprehensive planning process, so there's room enough for both pilot projects. It's a way to look at land use from both a housing development and a land conservation standpoint simultaneously, so that you're having those conversations now and not waiting until the comp plan gets passed and then having these arguments later on. Also worked with Pattern for Progress, one of our partners, on a variety of housing research studies that they're undertaking. The big one they've got 2 big ones for this year that I'm helping with. One is corporate homeownership, which has become a real issue, especially around short-term rentals. Mostly a little bit south of us, but we're seeing it pop up here too, especially in the city of Hudson. And then the other study is, or the other report that they're going to publish is taking a look at statewide housing policies from around the country, also the region, Massachusetts and Jersey, and comparing them to New York's. There's no way to phrase this otherwise. New York doesn't really have a statewide housing policy. Has a lot of housing programs, but doesn't really have a policy. So Pattern's trying to help maybe move that needle a little bit. And then the last piece, I worked pretty closely with the Rural Housing Coalition and their executive director, Mike Borges, during lobbying season. I did not participate in lobbying because I can't, but I did participate in the conversations about the types of policies that are priorities for rural housing initiatives.
And again, the Board of Supervisors is very pleased with the work CEDC and Chris are doing on the housing front and setting up the land bank enabled us to be able to get a $60,000 a year fee, which along with the additional funding from the county is able to enable us to continue. And we expect additional opportunities to gain administrative overhead expense from the land bank going forward. Wrapping up, Lisa is working hard on getting everything ready to file the Paris reports on March 31st. Kat and I are working with UHY on the closeout of the 2025 books and audit. And Riley and I have been working on membership. We're at about $15,000, which is about where we were this time last year. Our prospect letters have gone out and we're going to begin following up with the renewals where we haven't heard back from people. And we appreciate all of the board members who have already responded. Riley and I are also working on our website. We're meeting with our designer and host of the website, Tom Williams from Paradox Consulting on Wednesday. And we have retained a consultant well within my contractual authority to look at the website as if they were the auditor from the ABO to see if there are any gaps. And we may ask the marketing committee or subcommittee or task force from the board to get together with us on the website issues overall in terms of navigability and design. Also in that regard, I contracted, and Jim and I and Brian have discussed this with CFO for Hire to take a look with Kat at our bookkeeping system in terms of are we getting the most value out of QuickBooks Online. Kat took an all-day QuickBooks refresher course last week, and Do we want to see if, what can be automated in this day and age? I went somewhere where they said, oh, you just they just scan the bill and it goes right into QuickBooks, you don't even have to open the computer. So, we don't. We had a little bit of back and forth with the consultant. They wanted to do an analysis and tell us what we were gonna implement. I said, there may be things you recommend that we're not gonna implement, so let's back this up and come at it in a different way. And then also reduce the cost to $2,800 instead of the $10,000 package they were trying to sell us. If there are no questions, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Wayne. Any additional questions for the president and CEO? Okay, thank you. You see, in a minute, we're going to go into executive session and give you an update on the search. But first, let's see if we have any members of the public attending who may want to ask a question or offer an opinion. There being none, we'll move on. The meetings for the month of February, the loan committee meets on February 9th, the governance and nominating committee on February 10th. And the board meeting will be February 24th. Reminder that we're still looking for candidates to fill vacant seats on the board. We need to move this project along. And part of the process is having the governance and nominating committee interview the candidates. So please let us know if you have somebody in mind that we should explore their interest with us. So if I could add a motion to go into executive session on a personnel matter.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed?